in what is that shit at the in the hospital, the little ER thing.
The flatline thing.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, this shit could either go up or it could just crash on me.
Yeah.
um, well, I guess we could begin.
Let's do it.
What do you guys want to do? Replay or I mean, this week Monday I took two. Monday I took a loss, but there wasn't really a setup.
What do you
Uh,
guys think you've been struggling on this week?
It was to me. I just had a bad week from the start. I was just dealing with like some body illness because I think I had like a bad hangover from Sunday, and I don't know. I just never recovered. So I was like, damn, like this sucks to be in this type of funk. Like I can't even focus on the market, and I would be up, but I was just like, I'm not even paying attention. But I would be at my computer, and that's not like part of like once we get the discipline, I won't let that happen. But I was like, it was interesting to see how like I wanted to be there, but I couldn't. And it's a good thing I know not to trade, during that time.
Yeah.
blow your account. For me, I just the speed of the tape really fucked me in the beginning of the week. Like it was at my level. Both times it was at my levels, but the speed of the tape was so slow and there was just like no need. There was no urgency of any side taking control, but I just personally felt the need to like take a trade. And once I realized that on Wednesday, the speed of the tape picked up. So then I was like, okay, this is the opportunity. And then on Thursday, I realized that there's three setups really that I'm seeing. And the first one is the two touch of the limit orders. And then I know we've been calling it shallow pullback, but I realized that what we call shallow pullback is still actually absorption. And what is a shallow pullback actually is a bit different because shallow pullbacks are off trends, whereas the absorption and reclaim is still the absorption setup. I'll go deeper into that, but those are like the three things I really realized about this week.
But how do you differentiate between a trend and a absorption? If it's a continuation
Because
rally,
say that again.
like if it's rallying like it was yesterday and it pulled back slightly, that would be what we thought was a shallow pullback. But how do we differentiate that from absorption?
So yesterday, where is it? Where yesterday it's because the shallow pullback there's a difference between how many points the market is actually pulling back. So like let me see here. I'm just gonna pull up I'm gonna start sharing already. Wait, but what did you feel like you messed up on this week?
uh, just like trying to take, like looking for shorts, even though I wasn't looking for shorts, but still like trying to take a short in an upside rally when buyers were super in control the whole time, pretty much the whole week, and just not giving into like my emotions and shit. It's just FOMO shit. It's the same crap.
That's what I was telling you. I don't know if you've seen the chat, but yesterday Eloy was trying to take a short and I had told him like the tape is super slow here and candles are overlapping each other, and that was the same exact mistake I was making on Monday. So that at that point I was like, I'm just gonna walk away here. But I found your trade from this week,
Oh
and
yeah,
I
yeah,
looked
I
at
saw that.
the screenshot, and it was exactly the same pattern formation, like to the like perfect. And I
Yeah,
was just like,
I was getting the same feeling from that, to be honest. That's why I
yeah.
left early.
And that was one thing that ChatGPT actually pointed out to me that I never really considered was that at least it's easier for me to to see on the 2 minute chart because look at can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Look at how it's this is the one from yesterday. Uh look at
Looks
how
just
the
like my trade.
yeah, exactly. But look at on the 2 minute how the candles are all overlapping each other. It says that when this is happening, this is a bad sign for either side being in control. This is just both sides fighting to see who's gonna win. And um, on the trades that I took on Monday, it's the same exact pattern on the 2 minute chart. Where is it? Yeah, I mean, not exactly overlapping the same way, but you can see here, like the whole time, the candles are just like in between that same range all
Yeah.
the way. And then on Tuesday, it's also the same thing. And when that's happening, usually the tape is going to be slower. So that's like this one right here. Look at how they're all just like continuously overlapping each other. And even looking at the chart here, like whenever the sellers would step in, buyers would instantly pop it up. Yeah, there's limit orders here, but the tape of this action that was happening was super slow versus
So
when we're
Chat GPT tells me that this is a bad sign for shorts because this is not showing rejection, it's showing buyers accumulating and showing
exactly.
acceptance underneath supply.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't tell me that, but I definitely agree with that idea. And then also, one thing I didn't, I mean, I kind of did see it, but I ignored it was there was an LVN here and a big LVN here. And that was obviously going to be an area where like, it could be a support level where buyers continue to buy up there. So I was just trying to force a short here because I seen the two limit orders here, and it was just me being impatient and not really recognizing the conditions, to be honest.
But it looks like it's gonna take a short. It's rejecting the limit orders, CVD stalling. Like, what the fuck else are you gonna supposed to do?
That's where you have to. That's the where the two signs that I'm personally paying attention to moving forward is. I mean, I look at it on the 2 minute. I know you don't, but I can see the overlapping candles here. And the tape for you would be what could help you. uh the way it was moving was just super duper slow. Like the selling, yeah, there was selling, but it wasn't like a large displacement. Like you want to see true sellers push it lower, and then when buyers pop back up, either they're pushing hard and they get stuck here, or they're weak buyers popping up and then sellers remain in control. But here it was just, even looking at the CVD, it's just flat. Like it's not showing urgency from sellers here. So the tape was slow, and the CVD was was just flat. It wasn't showing like sellers were really. And then when sellers did try to push hard, the price didn't continue with it.
Yeah.
So those are all red flags for shorts there. I think what forced me to try it was the fact that my limit order confirmation was there. And I have to accept that just because we're at a key level and the limit orders are sitting there and the retest is happening. In these specifics condition and in these conditions specifically, this can fake you out. When we're in high volatility, it's a higher chance of the shorts working because you get larger moves. So yeah, the pop happens, the short happens, and even if buyers did want to continue higher, you could get a quick 10-point move because the type of moves that happen in high volatility are a lot larger. Whereas in the 17-20 range, 17-19 range, you're going to get more of that like consolidation. You're not going to get full follow through on the moves. That makes sense. But then moving on to the idea of the shallow pullback. So look at what ChatGPT was saying was when you get was it this example? No, it was at a demand level where I showed it to fuck. Okay, look at this one. So initially, oh, this is a shallow pullback. Hold up. I want to start with the absorption reclaim. So initially, I was. Fuck, now I'm confused. Is it this one? Yeah, it is this one. Initially, I was calling this setup here a shallow pullback because I got in on this small uh, rejection of sellers here. But what it's saying is a shallow pullback is actually when the trend already occurred. If you're getting in on where the absorption is and where the reversal is initially starting. So look at how we sold off all morning here, and then finally at the gap fill, we got the absorption and the market then started to push up. The shallow pullback would be once the trend already has taken off and you're getting in like up here somewhere.
Yeah,
If
it's a
you're getting
continuation. It's a continuation setup.
no, but the way the shallow pullback occurs is what makes it a shallow pullback because it says here this is it, there's nuances to it because this is a shallow pullback entry because I got in on a small pullback, but the actual like the setup that's occurring here, I'm getting in where the reversal is still starting off, whereas this entry over here from see how here, look at how the absorption happened all down here, and now the trend is already has already began. Now once up here, this is the shallow pullback, and the shallow pullback uh confirmations are you want to see a 8 to 12 point rally from the key level. So say here it was at 90-minute demand 70-60. So this is the demand level. You say you missed the move, but the market is trending to the upside. The bounce has a 10-point rally, and then now you want to see that you get a shallow pullback, meaning it's not super large. You don't want it to be 50% of what just occurred. You don't want it to be 80% down here. You want it to be just like 30 to 40%. So you want a 3 to 4 point pullback, and then you get in on the buyers stepping in again. That's a shallow pullback because you're getting in with the trend already happening. Whereas momentum continuation, you don't need this pullback on a momentum continuation. You could get like just like a slight little like a stall from buyers where it just like kind of just I've seen it before where like you don't even get a red candle. You just get like a little stall and then get in on it quick. But with the shallow pullback, you can actually use a point like you could calculate it by points. So if you get like a 8 to 10 point rally off of your key level and you can sense that we're gonna start trending to the upside, then you can wait for a 3 to 4 point pullback and then get in on the buyers stepping in aggressively again. Oh, and then the key thing also is the CVD. When you get in on the buyer stepping in again, you want CVD to, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you want CVD to be expanding with the price. Whereas there was one I showed an example of that Carmine had taken. Where is that one? Oh, I think it's in the same day actually. I hope it's in here.
Hey, when we get into the chop zone of VX, what kind of setups do we need? Is since the reclaim absorption isn't as important anymore?
Say that again?
You know how the high volatility we need reclaim absorption,
Yeah.
and when we get lower into the chop zone, like as we head down on VX, oh, what setup do we need, or what setups do we need for that? Or are we just playing chop?
It's either gonna be balanced or you can still get just regular absorption.
Oh,
Like
just
the
the normal
two
one.
the two touch, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But you're also gonna, the reason I bring up the shallow pullback is because it said when you're in that 17 to in this 17 to 19 range, you could get trending days also. It's not only chop zone, but you can also get uh trending upward moves, and it may not come back to your key level. Like your key levels are going to take way, it's going to take longer for the key levels to hit throughout the week. So whereas in high volatility you could get your key levels hit multiple times a week, in this condition, because you start trending, it may not come back to your 4 hour demand as quick. So it says that shallow pullback, if you do add shallow pullbacks to your setups, you won't feel like you're not getting your levels hitting. Or I mean, I guess your levels still won't hit, but you'll be able to still take opportunities off of it. You just have to know when it's trending. So right now, for example, we've been trending for like the past 11 or 12 days. Since the lows, we haven't really had one red day. And so already, like if you're getting 3 days of just continuous breaking highs or just continuous upside momentum, you can already tell yourself, okay, we're in trending conditions at the moment. So shallow pullbacks could be, this could be the time for shallow pullbacks.
Mhm. So you're gonna be taking more of those?
It just depends how obvious it is. Because like this one, for example, I thought this was a shallow pullback, and Carmine took this trade here at the 70s around here, and I was telling myself like, okay, we rejected here, 8 point drop, exactly what I said, and then I was like, oh, it's getting bought up weak. It's on a weak buy here, so this could be a shallow pullback. And then when I showed it to ChatGPT, it said, yes, we got the 8 point drop, but we don't have the shallow pullback because, like I said earlier, it has to be a 3 to 4 point uh pop, and then the move continues. Whereas here it's a 8 point drop with the 7 point pullback. It almost pulled back the exact same amount of points that we we rejected. So this is not a shallow pullback. Um, so it was like, be careful with taking this set. Obviously, it did work. Carmine was able to take it, but it's just, I just want to be able to like clearly identify the trades I'm taking.
Yeah.
Whereas the one that I took on Wednesday, so here we have the absorption happening down here. I don't know that it's gonna be a trending day yet. So what I'm waiting for is the reclaim of supply. And here we get that pop, we get a higher low, and then we now, right here we tried to reclaim supply, failed, try to break lower, but on aggressive selling, CVD was stalling, and then we popped back above aggressively the the supply, into the supply again, and now on this pullback, pullback was very stalled selling. Like it wasn't aggressive dropping into 70-10. It was like it tried to drop, and then like it was a bit slow. So this was confirming that the sellers are losing their urgency, and once I got that sweep up, I entered long. And this is absorption reclaim, because this the absorption happened down here. Now I'm waiting for that reclaim, and it pops up. Where initially I think I would have probably labeled this a shallow pullback. Obviously, yeah, we do have a reclaim of supply, but just being able to identify like, okay, absorption is happening when you're uh at the bot, like when the reverse, if you're moving with the reversal happening at the lows, that's absorption reclaim. If the trend already took off, like you're getting in up here and you're getting that 10 point push up and then a shallow pullback, meaning 3 to 4 points, it pulls back, and you can get in with that momentum. That's a shallow pullback. So it's later after the trend already has began. And then momentum continuation would be like you don't even get a clear red selling candle, like it just stalls and you're just moving with the momentum of the present buyers.
Oh, so shallow pullback can't be more than half of the initial drop or initial rally?
Exactly, yeah, it has to be like 30% of the initial move, 30 to 40% of the initial move.
regardless of the volatility. That might, or that'll just be conditions we
The
need to.
volatility could change it, like
Yeah.
say
That's a
you
good
get a
question.
fucking
Nice question.
you get a 20-point rally, expecting a 3 point pullback on off of a 20-point rally is less likely to happen. So you could expand. That's why it's better to think of it in percentage mind state,
Yeah.
where it's like, okay, this say it rallies 20 points. I want to see a 30% pullback. So it's not always going to be 3 to 4 points. It just has to be less than half of the move.
Mm. That's sketchy though, because it could pull back and stop your ass out.
Yeah, I even told Chat GPT, I was like, I don't know how comfortable I am with this move, and it just said keep
Stop being a
journaling
pussy, Eric.
the setup. What?
ChatGPT said, "Stop being a pussy, Eric."
um, so that's why right now, like I'm like hesitant on even taking the setup because yeah, I do have journaling on it, but previously I even went back to my Trader Sync journal and like I relabeled what I thought was a shallow pullback as absorption reclaim just so that
Wait, wait.
I don't get
Oh no, never mind. I guess so.
I had a question though. Can
yeah.
you explain real quick absorption reclaim? Like just even in that last screenshot, what it kind of looks like? Like even if it's like you moving your mouse and being like, look, it does this and then it does that. Because I'm still trying to understand reclaims when sometimes I take trades based on like thinking, well, it's about to reject here at this supply or demand. But then I've heard you say like, oh, that was like a reclaim, so you already missed the move or something like that.
Do you have an example of something like that? I mean,
No,
I could,
no,
but
I'm just saying like
I'm
just
trying to
the
picture what
last
you're saying.
screenshot you had up, you kept saying absorption reclaim. So if you could just even in that explain what it is, like I don't even understand the basics of what it looks like. So I'm just trying to get like a quick example of what you see looks like, what absorption reclaim looks
Let
like.
me that just because the last one was at a supply, I want to make it more understandable. Let me pull up my other journal one second.
Because I know reclaim or no, I think what I thought was reclaiming is kind of what you were explaining right now with the shallow pullbacks. But I also have like a whole new understanding of shallow pullbacks because of today.
Hold up. Absorption reclaim.
Gabe, does your what app is this? Trader Sync look like this?
What? Like this?
Yeah, like you put all this data into it too, like when you journal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn, I don't do that yet. I'm
It's big.
still on folders on Excel.
Damn. Get on it,
So
man.
right here, basically, this is the no, hold on. Basically, right here, the absorption happened down here. So this is there was two limit orders. You can't really see it because it's so zoomed out right now. But the aggressive selling comes into my gap fill here. So I'm looking at the candles right here. Uh, so the selling comes in and absorption is happening right here. So this is the beginning of the reversal. And then the market tries to pop up here. The reason this is that's where this comes down to the nuance idea. Uh because I was like, this is a shallow pullback because it never fully reclaimed the gap fill. But it says that because the initial absorption happened down here, and we know that because of how aggressive the selling was, and then the buying got absorbed all this selling that aggressively came down, and buyers got even stronger. Look at the way the bubbles are way larger and more tight, compacted. So the buyers absorbed all this selling that came into here and bought this up. So this is the initial absorption that happened. And then right here, this is a shallow pullback type of entry because it never fully reclaimed. But then if you look at the next image, this here is a full reclaim right here. So we got the absorption right here, and then up here, market aggressively reclaims. Reclaim meaning it popped up above the key level, and it has to be super, it has to be very aggressive. Like you don't want, this is me being aggressive on my entry. I didn't get the full reclaim yet. Uh you don't want this kind of behavior here where it slightly pops up and then pulls back because now you're still at risk. But because of how aggressive this buying is, you can be a little more aggressive with this entry. But if you do want to feel a little safer, you can wait for that even stronger aggressive push above. And then on this pullback, this is the reclaim because it tried to break under the gap fill and you got one test here. It then gets even a little more aggressive on this second test, pops up again. And then on this third test, the selling got weak and then it popped up. So this is this is the reclaim and this is the acceptance of the reclaim.
Man, it's like a whole nother
aka
way.
absorption.
Yeah.
It's like a whole
Does
nother
that make
way.
sense?
Yeah, I gotta rewatch this part.
And then I'll repeat that same idea with what I took on Wednesday.
All right.
Fuck, that wasn't it. Okay, here. Same idea. The selling gets super aggressive here. Beneath this time, it's let's say the key level. Well, this was the key level 70 10. 70 10 75. That's the key level that I'm watching for. So if sellers can stay underneath 70 10 70 08, then sellers remain in control. As this selling occurs, CBD is actually making a higher low. So in my mind, I'm aware that we're making a higher low on CBD. This could be absorption happening of these sellers. The only way I can enter on this is if we reclaim above 70 10 75. Because if we stay beneath 70 10 75, that means sellers remain in control. So we get this pop of the above 70 10 75. But like I said earlier, you don't really want to enter on this pullback here because you don't have confirmation of acceptance yet. This is just a reclaim here. It doesn't fully get accepted. Then it pulls back again, weaker selling, higher low, and then it pops up aggressively back above 70 10. So we get a reclaim, a full reclaim here in this case because it doesn't break back down. Now on this pullback, we start to see the acceptance because sellers start to lose their steam and you can see like it sellers tried, it popped up again. Sellers, and the way the tape is happening here is I'll replay the tape on this too. The way the tape is happening here is important because here you were seeing sellers like hitting the tape hard trying to push this lower, and then once we get the reclaim on this selling, it's like weaker selling. You can feel it in the tape. Buyers try to pop it up again. Slow selling back into 70 10. Limit orders appear. Now, this is acceptance here. The fact that sellers couldn't break back beneath the key level, and now on the next pop up, you can get in.
I guess I wonder.
But do you see how the idea is very similar to this here, where you get that pop up above the key level, slightly pulls back. You don't have to get aggressive with your entry here. You could be a little more patient. But you can already see here that sellers are losing their steam compared to what was happening over here. CBD is making higher lows. So then once you get this super aggressive reclaim above the key level, you can you can now enter on this acceptance.
Would you play it?
What? Say that again.
You should play it.
Oh, that's not the actual book, mom. I gotta open it. Um, what day was that? Uh, April 7th.
Hey, I was gonna ask you that percentage thing. For when I said about AMD, what tool are you using for that?
Trend line. Oh, I was actually gonna go over that too. This trend line. Look at how if I hover over it, see that little box that pops up?
What the hell? Wait, the trend line is just the normal one?
Yeah. You have to add it. The little
Oh,
box. You see how show label?
oh, okay. I didn't have that.
You can
That's
either
fine.
do always or on hover. So if you hover over the line, the box pops up. But see
Oh, sick.
how uh the
Yeah, I see
percentages
it.
right here?
Yeah,
That's
I
the
did.
best
I
way.
do that. I do that with Bitcoin. And when you told me that, I was like, oh yeah, why don't I do that with fucking this?
It's actually when I told you I looked it up and it was like 64%. Because this one's 66, this one is 66 also, and
So
then
what's
this
66 on the from the peak right here?
53 right here. What?
What's 66% from all time highs right now?
Well, the
It's
thing
like,
is that what I was also looking at was after the aggressive sell off, what's the how much does it rally? So
mm,
it actually rallied 316% from the
fuck.
66% drop. And then on this one was actually, but this was like when the momentum to the upside actually first started. This is 925%. But
Holy shit.
looking at this current one, we're currently at 267%. So it still has some upside before
Oh my
the
god.
which actually makes sense though, aligning with the idea if 2027 is a recession early in 2027, because we have still the rest of the year for it to rally to like 300 something percent. And then if after 300 something percent we get a 60% pullback, I mean, yeah, 66% pullback, it could be a good opportunity in the recession if that ever does happen. Because even this current pullback that occurred, it was only 29%.
Mm.
And what is this explaining? I don't. I'm still not as
It's
intricate.
what we had gone over with Microsoft, Eloy, where I said, look at the past 10 years and see the over the past 10 years, what are the largest pullbacks it has? And you'll see that you typically it pulls back the same amount um, when it has these large pullbacks. I think with Microsoft, it was like 30 or 40%, something like that.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah.
Damn, what's gonna happen in 2027 that's gonna make AMD drop 66% though? That's fucking scary.
Energy problem. The
That's fucking shit,
all
man.
the what's that shit called? I think like in the West Coast, we only have like three main energy centers, and supposedly people or like uh government people talk about it being able to shut off. Like if China hacks our energy system, they can shut off all the energy.
Damn,
That'd be
dude.
crazy.
Did you hear all those scientists dying and disappearing?
What the fuck? No, I haven't been
I
on
heard a
social
mention
media.
of it,
Like,
but what is it about?
what kind of stuff is this?
High profile scientists working on nuclear and aerospace stuff have been disappearing or dying within the past 2 3 years, and it's been like more than 10, I think.
Because they don't want them building that shit.
No one knows, but it's just they're starting to investigate because it's kind of a weird coincidence.
Or like another country? Like who's scientist? Is it ours?
Specifically, America's scientists.
It's all American scientists, yeah.
So yeah, like maybe another country finding out who they are, spies and shit.
Yeah, that's what they're investigating. They think it's terrorist kidnappings or like China trying to take our shit out and all these theories and stuff. It's kind of weird.
What if they're just buying them out the way America did to Germany's scientists? Just hiding them in Argentina?
Yeah, dude. They're all Nazis. Damn.
6590. All right. I'll just leave.
Nazis just speak Spanish now.
You know, the craziest, the most high profile Nazis who did horrible shit moved to Argentina and lived amazing lives.
Yeah,
I'm saying.
Pretty fucked up.
Off of America's dime.
Yep. A huge Nazi population went to Argentina.
And
I think they have like a whole like little neighborhood of just Nazis.
Yeah, they have a whole town and shit. Yep.
There's a population of them in South America. Which part though? Peru or Chile? Chile. I've heard of that too. Like,
it's because they all moved to these places because there's no extradition, so they couldn't be extradited to their countries to serve time for the war crimes they committed.
They're so racist when they got to Venezuela. They're like, you can't touch me. I'm Mexican now. They just call all the Latinos Mexican still.
That's pretty funny though.
All right, here's the. Is this the move? 55. Oh yeah. All right, so here's the aggressive salling at the. Wait, I forgot what the VX was. I just want to know. So this was still around some high VX. It was like 25s, but we were falling down from the highs. Here's my key level was the gap fill at 65.90. So this white line, aggressive selling came down. We popped back up, and then aggressive selling came in again. I missed this bottom here because the limit orders look sketchy to me. So then we get that large bubble. Look at the CVD. Look at the buying. But I never seen a clean limit order there. I think it pulls back one more time. Look at the limit order reappears at 65.82 where this limit order appeared. But the fact that it kind of disappeared like that sketched me out. On this pop, it rallies back up. So here I'm being hesitant because I'm just like, I don't know. But CVD already and the way this buying occurred is already telling me like, all right, buyers are taking control of this selling that was occurring, and it's at a key level. Now we get this pop, but I missed it. So okay, I have to accept that. Now in my head, I have to tell myself, okay, you got to wait for the reclaim to be able to make this still a valid setup. But we're still at this reversal range here. Like we're not trending yet. We're just starting the reversal here. So here's one attempt to get above. So attempting a reclaim, but it doesn't fully reclaim. But because of how aggressive this buying was occurring, I was open to still getting long if it held this limit order. But that, like I said earlier, that is an aggressive entry there because you didn't get the full reclaim. But look at the way the limit orders are just stacking and holding this. I think it pulled back one more time and I got in on the pop.
Is this price still at the gap fill?
Yeah.
Oh
This
shit.
white line is the gap fill.
I gave you so many chances too.
And this pullback here is when I got in.
There's a difference between the type of chances it gives you, where sometimes, like, these are looking like chances to get in, but then sometimes when I think I'm in that chance, like, position, it just reverses the opposite way, and so I clearly read it wrong. Where I was like, nah,
Yeah.
this is showing you that
This is
it's
where
not working.
this is where I'm saying you could be wrong because that's why I said this is an aggressive entry because you look at how it's still pulling back. And I set my stop under here, so I was okay with where my stop was. But because it never got the full reclaim, this is going to be an aggressive attempt here. So I could completely be wrong on this entry. That's why either you enter on this here, or you wait for that full
The real
confirmation
reclaim.
of the reclaim, which will happen right now.
And then what are NQ and VX doing at that time, I wonder?
Via and NQ was holding a 90-minute demand zone from pre-market. VX was rejecting a resistance line, and SPY is what sketched me out a bit because I didn't have no zone there for it
Did you just put that dotted line for VX just because of the pre-market high the day before?
because of this 2 days ago in pre-market. And because just seeing how like VX had tried to pop up and never really tapped it, and then in pre-market it did tap it, and then usually 45-minute pre-market supplies can break, but I was like, okay, if this breaks, what is the next level that it's gonna try to fight? And I figured due to these two attempts here, this could be a zone where it struggles at. And the fact that when we got into my demand zone and Q was at that 90-minute, VX was rejecting that exact line I had drawn, I was like, okay, this is valid, even though SPY wasn't somewhere. Everything else did align. And obviously, order flow was clean here for the buy side. So now here we're getting that second attempt of the reclaim. You're gonna see the pop gets aggressive here. And also see how on this type of move, look at how the 2 minute has no overlapping candles, the same way we were seeing at that supply zone that we were talking about earlier when we were reviewing, where like they were just like all consolidated in the same area. This is showing like the candles are like aggressively pushing to the upside. So this is showing urgency from buyers, whereas that other one, it was just like overlapping candles and small candles also.
Does it ever pass this little support area?
Underneath?
Yeah.
No. It pops up right here. right, I sped it up a bit, but I'm putting it back to 1. I think this is the bounce. See how now the tape is starting to get a little faster from buyers?
Yeah.
Now we're starting to show like, okay, this is trying to push up. Whereas over here it was kind of just like trying, but not with the same. So see, before I would consider this, oh, we're reclaiming. But no, you want strength above the key level. Why did pause?
So this still has an opportunity to come back to the low point, the low a day.
Yeah, it could definitely you want like a push up into this 94 almost with strength. Shit's faking me out right now. Look at
There you
that.
go.
That's strength. Valium popped up. CVD's rallying. Look at the size of the bubbles. Okay, now before I would be like, fuck, I missed the move. But you still have this is a reclaim now. Now you want to see acceptance above.
And are here? Are you looking for like LVNs on SVP to get into or what?
At this point, I want to see us hold above this 89. And the fact that we have this here, that's a good sign. But you don't want it to come down super fast. Like if it comes down just as fast as it rallied, that's not a good sign. You want it to have like this stalling that it's having right now.
Or is this absorption and it's in a different way? Like you want like the sellers are, I mean the buyers are re-upping or something. Is
Are
that
you
not
wait, say that?
is that not a way to
Wait,
look at it?
wait.
Like it's going slow because these are all the buyers that are like loading up on a move that they're gonna do again.
It's more sellers just lost control. Like sellers are trying, but they're kind of but yeah, this is the opportunity where buyers are building up their like either adding to their position or they're like, okay, this is a good time to enter now. So
Damn.
it's both. It's sellers losing control because they can't have that same momentum that was happening over here. This if you see what happened here, it was just like fast selling trying to push the market lower. Whereas over here, think about how why does it do this?
Oh yeah, it's been happening
Think
to me.
about how fast that sweep was here. Like it was just full on strength. And then on this selling, it's nowhere near that same type of sweep. They're more struggling. And the fact that we're holding above the key level here, that's a good sign now. Now you want to see buyers step back in with that same type of strength. So you see that by looking at CVD, like what's it doing here? We're making a higher low. As long as we stay limit orders started stacked up right here. Look at this aggressive selling trying to drop and it's not able to. CVD's dropping, but the price couldn't get lower. You can almost get in here already. Set your stop. Fuck, that's far. I guess you'd have to set it probably like that's where it's kind of tough on this one. I'd probably set it underneath these 88s.
Dan, that's interesting. I wonder if we'll eventually understand how to get in at the low, like we're training to, and then, like you said, like load up more on our position if we see like the shallow continuation pullback or whatever. I gotta learn that.
Yeah. Just that with that, your stop has to get adjusted a
Yeah,
bit because now you're adding more to your position.
and
See how on this pullback you could I mean the buyers showed their presence already, but that would freak me out a bit.
because how many times on our trades did we wish we would have held when we? I think not all the time, but lately we've been seeing trades that go past our targets with pullbacks. Because there's times where I'm exiting the trade and I'm like, oh look at, thank goodness I exited at my target because look at this pullback. But the pullback never reaches my stop. It probably doesn't even reach break even. It's doing what we're learning, what you're explaining right now. Because like that pullback at that high right there on the screen, that would have like freaked me out, and I'd have been like, oh, good thing I got out. But now I could look at it as like, oh no, this is like a whole like if you catch it, you might see more absorption, so you might want to load up again because this is gonna reverse more. I mean, that's not a part of the strategy right now either. I'm just like excited about the potential.
But see how uh so this was the reclaim. Sellers tried. Now this is acceptance. The clear acceptance to me is how aggressive these buyers appeared after this strong selling. You can see the strong selling on the bubble and on how CVD tried to break lower, quickly failed, and buyers got back in. If you didn't get in on here because you're kind of hesitant on like, damn, was that buying? Was that true acceptance? You're not always gonna have this third chance, but you have this next pullback, and then again, even if you look at the way that buying came in and the CVD, the way it route, fuck, always do that shit. So the selling comes back in here. Look at CVD; it's already above this previous rally here, or it's trying to hold above it.
Where's
We've
your
seen
line at?
acceptance once here. All right, but and then even think about this. The selling was slow here. Selling tried to get aggressive, and now on this selling, it got weaker than what was happening here. So one, we had this aggressive push. Now on this next pullback down, the selling bubbles got smaller. So that's a sign of weakness. Even looking at the volume, it's smaller selling volume. CBD's holding a higher low at this point. Now on this next push, you have to get in. If it's like aggressive sweep, like this already, you can start getting in. It's like a sweep up. And look at CBD at that same time. That's clear acceptance right there. You could get in this without having much fear.
Does Carmine use CBD?
I've seen him start popping it up in his videos more, but he uses the CBD on his footprint.
Oh, okay. I was recently watching a video of him explaining on Bookmap, and I was like, "Where's your CBD at, bro?"
Yeah, he uses the footprint one more. But that right there, you have great fucking entry there.
Loading up,
And
bro.
this is still the beginning of the reversal here. I mean, it's not fully the beginning, but this is like shit. You're getting in on the fucking that churn of the reversal. But this is still that beginning portion of the reversal.
Damn, bro, that's crazy. These are like the trades Carmine holds because I'm looking at the TOS chart, and I'm like, I could see him finding reasons to hold as high as that's going.
Yeah.
And
And I fucking got out early on this trade.
and that
It
video he
sucks.
did with like when him and this other guy were trading behind each other, and that other guy got out early, and Carmine was still in, and I was just like, damn, how did he get this like target?
With that Vincent dude?
I forgot who the other guy was, but they were just in each other. Like I think Carmine was at his house, And
Yeah, I think it was Vincent. I think they had an Airbnb or some shit.
oh, okay.
The Desi guy you always hang out with? Or
Yeah.
Desi trades?
But yeah, this is a fucking amazing setup here. But
And I
do you
missed
get
it.
the reclaim idea now?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna replay the one from this week. So this next one is the same idea, but it's a reclaim of supply this time. Uh, 15. Yeah. Look, this is what I'm talking about here. With my fucking this whole shit. I just can't get out of that. From January 29th to right now. Stuck.
At least you're maintaining.
I know, I've never seen this. Like, there's nowhere else in my chart where I see that, which is pretty interesting. Guess I'm just a break-even trader right now.
Not me, bro. I trade.
I would like to see what yours looks like, Eloy. Get Trader Sync already.
I know, that'd be crazy.
I'm like like in my mind, the ADHD in me is kind of like, as we're reviewing, like, damn, what's another way to like set up this video or like a training program that, like, if we were to come up with one, and then I was just thinking of a web of like, all right, this section we talk about this, and like just like our own lecture, like our own lesson plan. And what you're explaining right now, like these last videos since I started recording our sessions again, I have like a whole different playlist, and I'm like, I think this new playlist is like where we sound smarter and not just throwing darts in the dark.
Like
we're speaking from a foundation. We're speaking from like a good, strong foundation right now. Where before we were figuring out the foundation.
Sometimes I still feel the foundation's a bit weak.
For sure.
Always room for improvement.
I want to hear what was your budgeting financial plan when you got rid of your debt, bro?
Do nothing with my life.
I feel like that's.
So what are you gonna do now?
Stack up $6,000, baby.
He's about to hit up Kevin. He's gonna hit Kevin up tonight. Watch.
I want to put $3,000 in my trading account if it's the same shit. If the 3 months of consistency happen without breaking rules, I want to add 3,000 to my account.
Are they gonna start adding contracts?
Just 2. But
Ooh,
I want to.
Losses are gonna fucking hurt. Those first losses.
I know. But see, the thing is, I feel like I wish you could not see your fucking profit on.
Dude, they have a switch to turn it off, but it still comes on.
I know. I seen that.
It's
I asked
retarded.
ChatGPT how to do it, and it said you can. It told me
Why
to
the
fucking
hell?
put a sticky note on my
bro,
screen. I was like, I was pissed
Hell
when
no.
I said.
Hell no, I gotta write another feedback letter to fucking be a Karen. Look, man.
I'm a $900 member, and
They're gonna be like, you don't pay shit, and you're losing.
They're like, first of all, you're global, not global plus, so calm down. I'm like, shit.
Alright, so here's the sell-off that occurred. And so we got that rally at the open. This is the 6:30 rally here. So this action that happened here topped at 70.24. And I this whole time I was like, okay, we may break under. I didn't want to get short up here because I was just like, this buying was so strong. I was like, that could get absorbed. The selling could get absorbed. But then once we got underneath 70.10.75, I was like, okay, if we hold under 70.10.75, um, that could be a short opportunity. Like if we break under and then pop back up on weak buying. So that's initially what I was looking at. I wasn't really having that idea of reclaim and getting long. Speeding it up a bit. So here you see the selling got even way more aggressive. The bubbles got bigger. The speed of the tape. Let me just rewind. The speed of the tape gets faster. See this that sweep down?
Yeah.
So it's getting faster here. Now we're getting real aggressive selling. Look at the volume candle. Look at the CVD. Obviously, we can't chase this. So now I need to see that we get acceptance underneath. Oh shit, I did not expect that. Now that we're under, I want to see us remain underneath this area here if I were to get short. But I also am aware that we have this limit order up at 70.15. So this whole range, 70.10 to 70.15, I want to see us have weak buying into that if I am going to get short. At this point, you could also start looking at CVD. Like, is CVD trying to hold higher or is it trying to break lower? Just to get an idea of are sellers strong or weak. Another good thing to take into consideration is we have this 1,000 lot seller here. So are buyers remaining above this seller? Not saying that this is what you want to see the reclaim above, but just a little range of like, okay, are buyers remaining above that large seller there? And see here, I wouldn't be too uh quick to short because the tape slowed down. We started consolidating. CVD started just stalling there. So you want to see urgency from sellers if the shorts are gonna work. But already we got pretty, I wouldn't say aggressive, but it did pop pretty fast. And CVD is now trending to the upside or trying to reverse to the upside. Limit orders got thicker at 70.15. So now here, this is the initial reclaim.
But are you looking at it as a reclaim at this point, or are you kind of trying to see if it's gonna reject those limit orders?
I want to see if it rejects those limit orders. But if like something happens when it pulls back down to 70-10, it's not like my trigger, but it's gonna catch my attention. But I would prefer this buying to be a lot stronger. And you're gonna see that it actually pulls back down underneath supply one more time, but not with urgency again. Like this stalling here, once it's testing this limit orders, is not a good sign for shorts. Because if shorts really were in control, they would push it down a lot stronger. I think they do try aggressively around this area here, but they quickly get bought up. But see, like the fact that I even have to speed this up, trying to see what happens next, like shorts are just not fully in control here. So right here in my head, I'm like, okay, we're holding this 70-10. But there's the speed of the tape is kind of slow. Like I'm not seeing any strength from either side at the moment. But it is interesting that this selling is so slow and we're holding this 70-10. Look at the size of the bubbles here. They kind of got stronger. So we're seeing sellers are trying to break this.
And there's an LVN right there underneath that. Right at 70-10.
It breaks under right, though.
Oh, shit. Damn, speed this up. Oh, here we go.
So
No
here's
fun.
the
It's
aggressive
crazy.
selling. Look at this aggressive selling here. CVD tries to push lower, getting to that previous low on CVD. Now, if I were to want to get short again, because it broke here, I would want to see weak buying pop into like this area. But the fact that it's not breaking this 708 where that large seller was is a red flag here. With CVD making a higher low, never really dropping down beneath that other low. Look at that sweep up that just occurred. Now to me, this is like, okay, I don't think sellers are in that same control that they were. Now I'm this is where I started to like reverse my idea of like, okay, I don't think shorts are gonna work anymore. Look at that strength now. Okay, now I'm telling myself, okay, this is a real remember how weak that buying, how thin that buying looked over here compared to this? I'm still not gonna get in here.
But
Like
it
if it were to pull back,
made a
what was
higher
that?
low and higher high.
Yeah, I still would want it to push a little higher because I could be wrong. But look at CBD now at this point. It from where that low was to where it is now. This is like sellers are completely lost what they had. I just want you to feel how that. Why does it go that? How that sweep is. See those sweeps are very clear indication of who's trying to control the market at that current moment. And if CBD aligns with the sweep, that's a good sign of the direction. What time did I get in? I don't even remember. Hold up, I'm gonna just see what time I got in. 7:06. Damn, it took a while.
I'm falling asleep over here.
So there's that aggressive sweep up. Now this is okay. We have a strong reclaim here. Now I'm waiting for that pullback down into this 70-10 area. I want to see acceptance above supply now or inside supply now. So 70-10-75 is my key level. We got that strong reclaim from the pop here. And if you zoom out, you can see, oh shit, absorption happened. We had this aggressive selling, a pop. Sellers tried to break down again aggressively under 70-10. They failed. Now we got this aggressive buy reclaim of 70-75. So down here, there was seller absorption by buyers. So now if this move is going to continue, I want to see a pullback hold above 70-10-75, above the absorption to go long and target high a day 70-24-75. Because right now we're already testing this pre-market high. And look at CBD, clearly not breaking the highs, but clearly trending upward now. And see how this is a lot safer now compared to trying to get long over here. yeah, you may feel like you missed it, but if you I guess understand the auction that's happening, you could find that opportunity back in. So now, let me slow this down. Let's watch how the saling comes down. Does you don't want the saling to come down with the same uh it is kind of fast, but it's not like the way we seen the saling over here. So we have these limit orders sitting down here around 70, 10, 25. So I would like if the market were to come down into this limit order here, that's still acceptable as long as on the pop it's aggressive. So we're seeing that buyers still want this higher because of this attempt here, and sellers are not in the same uh don't have that same power that buyers are having. Even looking at the volume bars, look at the where the buyers present themselves, they just have a stronger push than sellers do. Look at that volume push here. So already we're starting to see acceptance above that 70, 10, 75. I don't want to get in too early either though. I want it to come down to this area here. Here's the next push down. And now this is a strong attempt from sellers to push lower. And I got in somewhere right here. I got in on that push there with my stop underneath these limit orders. And if you zoom out, look at what CVD is doing. Higher low, clear higher low compared to that the lows that we were at. And then look at the strength that's coming in now.
Man, these are some new lessons learned.
But you see how what I just explained right now, is almost identical to what was happening at that gap fill reclaim. The selling was super slow, not super slow, but it was slow compared to the way the buying was on that pop up here. On the gap fill, we had a strong sweep up. This was more like it was a slower pop, but with large bubbles occurring. It was still pretty strong though. And then on the pullback, the sellers stalled their way down. Once it finally got to the area that I was interested in it retesting and holding, on that sweep up, I got in at about 70, 13, 25 or something like that. And then set my stop underneath these 79s. Think it ever comes back. Yeah, it just takes off from here.
Damn.
And I targeted the high a day, 70, 24, got out right there.
Ooh.
That one felt pretty amazing.
You should have doubled that.
But the key thing was that super aggressive selling tried to break under supply. and buyers were able to absorb that. I didn't get in on the initial absorption, but I got in on that reclaim. So that's why this is absorption plus reclaim.
And what were
The same
and
thing with the gap fill, absorption plus reclaim.
you show VX
Whereas
73.
if you get in on the if it's say this is a demand zone and then you get that limit order and then it pops up and then pulls back and it tests those limit orders again, that's the two touch absorption of the limit orders.
So it's kind of like if you're wondering if it's going to be a shallow pullback, but it somehow breaks down your shallow pullback entry, but touches the limit orders again, you can either get back in on the limit orders. I don't know. I feel like there's more confirmation to like size up if you're in the retest of the limit orders, and then size up on some.
Well, if you get a reclaim like this, I would have to see it. I'd have to see how it looks because I was gonna say if you get a reclaim like this, and then you get this weak selling here, and then it breaks back underneath this 70-10 with our current condition of 17 to 20 VX, I would be cautious of getting in again on that retest of the limit orders because that's telling me that the absorption plus reclaim tried to happen and they failed. Now, if it was a strong VX, like above 20s, 23, somewhere around there, and you got like this 20-point push and then it pulled back into the limit order retest, that's more of an acceptable one because you do expect large swings like that. You get that difference?
Yeah.
I do want to show you guys the shallow pullback though from the 16th. So you see the clear difference with it. And we walked away after the. I remember, Eloy, you said you were walking away, and I walked away also, and it ended up happening after we walked away. What time is that? Around 8. So I had this 70-60 demand. That lagging. The right level price. There it goes. Wait, it's not doing. So I personally wanted it to come down to this 70-35 to be able to get a good opportunity for longs, but it never fully came down here. We did get this strong selling right at the open. So I was kind of iffy about this 70-60 just because it was a pre-market demand zone from 90-minute. But when it came down into it, it broke it pretty strong. Yeah, it broke it pretty strong. So I kind of was like, I can't really have interest in this zone anymore. And I started kind of like losing my interest of even watching the market throughout this all this consolidation here, it just was like stalling the whole time. Nothing really happening here. And even just looking at it right now, look at the difference in the tape, the way the tape is just moving, like it's way slower. Even on this bind here, like the bubble's fairly strong, but you're not seeing that same sweep type of reaction.
What's
It's
BX
just
at right here?
on this one it is. Damn, did I not put that photo? Oh, I don't have the VX here. The 16th.
That's probably around 2019 somewhere.
Yeah, it was 20s. Actually have the exact. This was around what time is it? 7:25. It was about 20.75 at this point. But also VX was just kind of consolidating. You can see it here. Oh, where'd I put it? Oh fuck. So we were about like right here somewhere. But you can just see we were just bouncing back and forth on VX. But even through that, what I was just talking about right now, like the buying is just, the tape is just completely different than the action we were looking at right now. Super slow. CBD is just stalling, not really going anywhere. So at this point, I was just like losing complete interest. But then at what time is that? Like after 7:30, it started to pick up right here. But I'm already. No, it's still pretty slow here, actually. Yeah, it's still pretty laggy. So like down here, I wouldn't be interested in even trying to get long because all I seen was complete stall here. CBD's now finally on this move starting to make higher highs, but it's still in that consolidation range. So I wouldn't really have any interest in this. If anything, if I were to want something, it would have to reclaim this 70/60. But let's say I was sketched out by it just because of the action that we've had. We broke the demand already, so it's kind of like I don't know about this support level anymore.
Is this green line the demand zone?
Yeah. So it's trying to reclaim. Plus, we have this VX up here. I mean, this VWAP up here around above the demand zone. So that can also be resistance. So in my mind, I'm just like, I don't know how I feel about trying to long this. So I personally wouldn't really accept the reclaim as an opportunity here. I just want to see if the reclaim does look anything similar to what we were watching. We did get this strong push here with CBD rallying. Here's that pullback. This is that rejection of the VWAP. So we're around here right now. Limit orders are holding this. But just with the VWAP like that, I would be pretty sketched out by what. Oh, I don't have it. I was gonna say what's in Q doing. Still just not seeing much uh like strength from buyers at this. Even like on this push, it doesn't feel that strong. So I personally wouldn't really probably get in on this reclaim here. See how on the other reclaims that on like the gap fill reclaim, we never broke under the gap fill. So not saying that if you because if you break under a demand zone, it's still possible for it to reclaim. But like I said, you want that strength to be present. And here we don't really have that urgency of buyers at the moment. So yeah, we are reclaiming the demand zone, but I'm not seeing that same type of action that we've seen on the past two trades we were looking at. So this isn't a high. I wouldn't say this is a high quality reclaim here. You guys see the difference?
Yeah.
So that's why with this, like you could be like, I'm not comfortable with it, and then you
I
get
just
the
gotta make
you
sure I see those little spikes and those little nuances.
Yeah, and also remember what I said earlier about look at how the candles aren't consolidating, whereas here they are. I mean, overlapping. Here they are like overlapping on each other. So like it just, but I see it because of the 2 minute candle. To be honest, on the 5 minute, it's kind of harder to see, but these overlapping candles are not the best sign. Um, but if I am still at the charts at this point, I can start to see like, okay, we are not right now, but we are starting to push to the upside. Just looking, and also keep in mind, I'm aware that the past fucking 10 days we've been trending bullish. So we got super aggressive selling in the morning, and buyers have so far have been able to basically start to take control here. You can see we made these lows and consolidated on CVD. Now buyers with CVD are starting to push up to the upside. So now in my head, I'd be like, okay, if this is a trending day again after the past few trending days, I want to see a 8 to 10 point aggressive push to the upside from the lows in order for me to see a potential shallow pullback. So right now, what have we rallied? 57 to 62. That's 5 points. But now we're starting to the tape is starting to pick up a little more for from the buyers. Already I can feel the difference of buyers here compared to how they were moving down here. Look at this push here.
CVD's clearer too.
Yeah, exactly. This here is now telling me a shallow pullback is does have potential because CVD is pushing up strong. Now we're at about what is this 57 to 6. Now we're at about 9 point rally. So now with this 9 point rally, let me slow this down a bit.
It's gonna be 11 in like 4 minutes, by the way.
Yeah, I gotta get off that.
The shallow pullback's happening right here.
It's only been an hour and 40 minutes in this meeting.
So we got that trending upside. Now I'm watching for that 30% Pull back to hold here. From 67, we've pulled back 2 points. They're trying here. Now we pulled back 3 points. Buyers are still showing their interest here.
From where do you start that 30%? Like, what's the bottom to the high, or where you're gauging the 30% pullback?
The rally, right?
The rally here from this 57 to this 67, or like yeah, like 60. So I guess it's a 10-point rally here. Now, look at how this sellers tried to aggressively push this lower. You can see the volume stepped up, CVD. But look at on this buying, how buyers still remain in control, higher low. We had a sweep on that buying there. CVD starts to push up again. You may have one more chance on one more pullback, and if it holds cleanly, that's why I'm saying this one's a little harder than what we're used to, because one, you need to know that we're trending. Two, you need to be comfortable with the pullback that occurs, and you have to be ready to get in on that aggressive push. But here's that second attempt. Now on this next push that happens, if it's aggressive and a sweep and CVD moves with it, you got to get in with the stop underneath like the 64s probably. Now, it's scary though.
Fuck yeah, dude. Shallow pullbacks are way gnarlier than the ones we're doing.
So you're saying the shallow pullback already happened?
This was technically what would make me feel pretty comfortable with getting in on this push was the buying that happened here. I would have preferred to get in on this push here, but it is pretty scary to get in on that because this pullback would freak me out a little. But the safer entry would probably be this one because you got this strong push here. You got that 3 point pullback into this LVN that I didn't even realize here. Well, it's that's a tough one. But this is that 4 points here from 67 to 64, or 3 points. Yeah, 3 points. And then you get this strong push. I'll just replay that just so you see. So you got that strong rally. Market tries to pull back here. Look at how it gets. The sellers try to push it lower. CVD's coming down. That strong attempt. But then this next move from buyers is the sign that buyers are still in control. This. Making a higher high from what we previously did with strength. Now on this next pullback is where you could start to be like, okay, if this holds again, I'm going to try it.
We speed this up though. It's already 11. You would
Right
take
there.
this thing? This is crazy.
But that's because look at the what's gonna stop us from getting higher here. One, we're near all-time highs, so most likely the market wants to break all-time highs again. I would still probably target like high a day or pre-market high. But the type of move we had, the aggressive selling that failed to make like all this selling that tried to push lower, CVD stalled down here. Now we're starting to trend upward. That's why I'm saying it's a harder one to catch. You need to know that we're trending. We have been trending the past few days, so we're near an all-time high. So like in my mind, I'm thinking we want to push to test those all-time highs again. You have to
Mm,
have a lot more market context aligning, I guess you could say.
yeah.
But
I
yeah,
guess
that's what I'm
CBD.
saying. Like, this is something you would want to keep journaling before you even try taking it.
Yeah, for sure. Especially how it switched up.
Yeah. Um, but that's why I'm saying that the shallow pullback is more the trend already happened, whereas the absorption reclaim and the two touch absorption of the limit orders is right when the reversal is occurring.
Hmm.
Whereas this is already starting to trend.
Yeah, makes
That's
sense.
basically it, though.
That's a good one. I'm glad
Sure.
you have all the examples.
What?
I'm glad you have all the examples of the different setups.
Oh yeah,
Appreciate that
that
work.
shit
Oh yeah.
some work, but it's worth it.
Oh yeah, dude.
I don't know. Eli, any questions? Anyone?
No, I need to step up the reviewing on my own. I'm getting sloppy with that.
I mean, ChatGPT is my best friend. That shit helps me a lot. I feel like I wouldn't have understood this idea that I'm explaining right now if I didn't have ChatGPT. It's definitely been creating a shortcut to my learning process.
Yeah, I've been doing it with the pre-market plans every night, but I gotta incorporate it more in the reviews.
Yeah. I also one thing I do a lot is like if you look at here, I'll like take screenshots as the market's doing things. So like once the session's over, and if I see something that like I'm like, oh, is this absorption or is this something? But I also pay for ChatGPT, so I got unlimited photos I could upload. But I'll like post photos that I see and be like, is this a shallow pullback or is this absorption? And then it'll like tell me like, no, it's not. And then I'll like compare it to like this one I compared to another shallow pullback that I seen, and that's when it pointed out like this had a 10-point rally with a 3-point pullback versus what you had a 7-point rally. I mean, an 8-point rally with the 7-point pullback. So that's not a shallow pullback. So that's kind
Yeah.
of the different nuances I'm realizing. But yeah,
Sweet.
that's basically. What are you guys working on next week?
Fucking, I guess now I have to see the little nuances of this shit.
Yeah, I mean, we're still trending to the upside. I don't know how long that could really last.
I needed to
Obviously,
get away from all-time highs too, because it's really bumming me out.
yeah, that's why I've been more open to like potentially seeing shallow or at least understanding it. But look at here on the from the lows. This is the daily. We haven't had one red candle.
I know, dude. I have so
Or
many demand zones that haven't even been touched yet.
yeah, so I would say like I don't want to say we're getting overextended yet, but it is possible. I mean,
I
even
picture I large red candle just blowing through all these bullshits right here. That's what
Dylan
I'm
said
picturing.
like even he said like at some point we are gonna need some type of pullback. But he's like when you're going against a moving train, it's pretty hard to call that rejection
Yeah.
point.
That 4 hour 7,875 is key though.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, so yeah, my thing is just continuing to journal shallow pullbacks, not even try to take them fully, but also like when those key levels do hit and we do get a pullback, be ready for either absorption or absorption reclaim.
Yeah,
It's basically it for me.
Tight.
it's good. It's another good one.
All right, I'm outies.
All right, y'all.
All right.
Have a good weekend.
You say good. See ya.
Peace.
Peace.